Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. I've got an opportunity to introduce you to one of my favorite performers of all time. She is a wonderful Latin musician. She's a pianist and a singer. She sings in Spanish as well as in English. And I ran across her. I don't know, about 5-7 years ago when she was performing for the Mississauga Arts Council. And she came and she did not only a performance, but an inspirational talk about finding your passion in life. And it really spoke to me. And I ended up getting to know her and went to a couple of her performances. And then just a couple of weeks ago, I don't even know where I was, but I was somewhere and they had Jazz FM on the radio, and on came this same individual. And she is a host every Saturday afternoon of the Latin show on Jazz FM, Laura Fernandez. And it was excellent. And you were interviewing someone and you did an incredibly great job. And so I had to reach out to you, Laura, and find out how you're doing. So how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm holding up and have been really busy. It's crazy to be in this pandemic, but I've actually been enjoying my time at home because, as you know, I was a visual artist before and I always had a home studio. So I'm used to being at home and working at home. And I enjoy not having to run around so much. So there you go.
So tell us a little bit about what you're doing. So let's start from the most recent and go backward in history. So right now on Saturday afternoons, you are the host of what's it called? Latin Jazz?
It's called Cafe Latino.
Cafe Latino, and it's on Jazz FM.
Jazz FM 91, Toronto 91.1. And yes, I am the producer, the host, the researcher, the woman of many hats. This show is my baby, and I really enjoy producing it and making it into a work of art in itself. So.
And how many years have you been doing that show?
Well, I started February 2008, so it's been a long time. I mean, you could do the numbers.
Been a while. And you interview people as well as play the music, correct?
I do. For a very long time, I was the only voice of Cafe Latino. As to their preference. But in the last, I would say 2 years, I've been doing a lot more interviewing because I am finding that people really like to learn who is behind the music and what inspired the music. So, you know, it helps them connect to.
You were interviewing Bill, someone, I think it was, when.
Bill King, yeah. Bill King actually has a radio show also on Jazz FM 91, but he's a fascinating guy and a musician, and he has been in radio a long time. He's an author. But yeah, no, I love learning about people's lives. Everybody has a story. So
you asked him a lot about his book as well as his music, and it was really quite interesting.
Yeah, he just released a book actually. so and he also released an album. So he is definitely also a man of many hats. We have a lot in common.
Now you're also a real estate agent.
I am. I actually became more than just a real estate agent now. I'm a broker and have been really busy on that kind of end of the spectrum as well. I enjoy real estate, and it also is a passion of mine. So, and it helps fund my arts career. So what can I say?
And so the arts career is that you're a pianist and you're a singer performer and you're a songwriter. Is that correct?
That's right. And I'm also an artist, and am currently working on a book that I'm illustrating, and Leona Boyd, the famous guitarist, has written. So we are going to be releasing it at some point a little later this year. So yeah, I do a lot of things.
That was one of your first careers, wasn't it? You were an illustrator and a children's illustrator and then a commercial illustrator. Is that not correct?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So I'm still doing everything.
But I understand in high school, you were a performer, and then you got into illustration. And then after a while, you realized that you had given up that performance and wanted to go back to it. Isn't that the story?
Yeah, but when in high school, I had never really performed professionally. I had a garage band. But I've been writing songs since I was about 13. So I have legitimately been wanting to be and working as a musician for a long time. It took me a long time to do it professionally. I really didn't do it professionally until I moved to Toronto, and after I was already, well established in my illustration career that I just ventured forth into performance and music.
Am I right that you did both children's illustration as well as commercial illustration?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. With my ex-husband, I think we have something like 18 children's books that we have worked on over the years, and many, many covers. We did a lot of editorial work as well. We did an enormous amount of advertising internationally. We had an agent in New York, an agent here. And in fact, Rick is still doing illustration. He won the contest with a designer for the latest stamps for Black History Month. Those are Rick's.
Wonderful. Well, and you were kind enough to invite me to one or two of his art showings as well. So he's
that's right.
A very, very capable artist. We're chatting with Laura Fernandez tonight about her life and career. And we're going to take a break and come back in just a second. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour, 2nd and 60. We're chatting tonight with Laura Fernandez, who's really quite unbelievably interesting young lady. She started doing music in high school. She then became an illustrator, both of children's books and then of commercial illustration. And then she gave it all up to get back into her musical career and did extremely well at that. And in addition, I had the privilege of hearing her do some inspirational speaking at the same time as performing, which was kind of interesting. And then she got into real estate. Now she's a real estate broker, and since 2008, she's had a weekly show. What was it called again? The Cafe Latino on Jazz FM 91 in Toronto. And I love tuning into listening to you and your interviews. So thank you so much for doing that, Laura. So tell me a little bit about your love of Latin music, because it's interesting. When you were in this garage band, you weren't doing Latin, you were doing just rock and roll, right?
I was doing rock music, and I come from pop and rock and folk. But I was often, I had written one song in Spanish, and I remember I was performing somewhere and people kept coming up to me and asking me, "Oh, we'd like to buy your Spanish album." That's how it started. And I'm like, "What? I don't have a Spanish album. I have one song." But every time I would play that song, that's what happened. And I sort of decided, well, maybe I should make a Spanish album. So I started writing a series of songs in my native language, which is Spanish. And out came Un Solo Beso. And then kind of the rest is history. And the reality is that I was hired by Jazz FM 91 to head the Latin show after Amanda Martinez kind of gave it up. And they pretty much allowed me to explore the world of Latin jazz and present it as a way for people to discover it at the same time that I was discovering it. So it was really interesting because I was very excited and just very almost ADHD about how I picked my music, because I would hear something and I go, "Oh my God, this is fantastic." And then I would pick something else completely different because Latin jazz and the whole Latin music genre is very broad, as you know. And so, it was like one day I was playing a lot of flamenco, then I was playing tangos, then I was playing, salsa, and I was playing Afro-Cuban music, Brazilian, and so I just kind of let it be what it was, which is, as, how I feel about the music. And, it is extremely varied, and I absolutely love it. I mean, it's connected me with a whole other amazing community with people all over the world who love Latin jazz, everywhere from Japan to Finland to Africa to all of South America, of course, but also, Portugal and Spain, Italy. I have fans everywhere, and it's very exciting to just always be introducing new music, and people just send me things and I share it. It's all about sharing the love.
And you yourself are still performing, and you've actually got a new album coming out.
I do. I have been performing Latin jazz now for over 10 years, and it came time for me to do another album. But guess what? I didn't want to do the same thing that I had done before, and I went back to more of a singer-songwriter album, and no songs on this album are in Spanish. So And the album is out already. It came out late October. The album is called Okay, All Right. And I'm very proud of it. It's been amazing.
Is it jazz or is it pop or what?
There is some jazz on it. There are elements of pop, elements of jazz, elements of classical music, a lot of very deep poetry and lyrics. It's an extremely intimate album. And I had some wonderful musicians. George Kohler joined me on the bass, and I had Marito Marx, who I knew from my Latin jazz career, on drums, and me on piano and vocals. And I even have I have strings on this album, a whole string section. And I have guitar from Tony Corrington, and also Noah Zacharian added some guitar. And I have a mandolin player as well, a wonderful bluegrass mandolin player on one song. Yeah, Graham. It was an amazing experience recording it. It's two years work.
Why the title Okay, All Right?
Well, there's one of the songs is called Okay, All Right, but I did not want it to just be about that song. I wanted the title to be more about broader. I want it to be about my state of mind, where I am now in my life. And the title really represents where I am in my life, where I'm okay with who I am. I'm okay with the things that I've done. I'm feeling very relaxed in my own skin and very accepting of the wonderful things that the universe has brought into my life. And it's really about just feeling very at peace with how things are with my life. Yeah.
And that's why you say it's an intimate album.
It's extremely intimate. And when you listen to the songs, there is joy for sure. But there's a lot of introspection. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of questioning. It's really my story over the last 20 years. So, and through the eyes, I guess, of a relationship. So yeah, I reveal a lot about myself in my songs for sure. And I don't hide it. And I don't try to be poetic and kind of enigmatic about the whole thing. I'm very, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I tell the story the way it is and in simple language. And, people want to listen to it, they can go to my website, laurafernandezmusic.com. It's all over the place on all streaming platforms. And I even have it out on vinyl. I'm very excited that I actually have like a real vinyl album.
Where does one buy vinyl these days? I don't even know where to go. You can the Record Man on Yonge Street.
You can go, well, you have to get it online. But I have mine available on my website and also on Laura Fernandez Bandcamp / Laura Fernandez. You can get it on CD and you can get it on vinyl, but I'm finding that people are either streaming or going to vinyl. There aren't that many people buying CDs anymore.
No, for sure. So that's fascinating. And it talks about, you said your life for the last 20 years through a relationship. Can you explain that at all?
Well, some of the songs I wrote when I first started getting into music, and when my marriage was kind of decomposing. And some of the songs are more recent, and a couple of them are kind of like midway through my life. So it really feels like the soundtrack of my life. And I remember I had gone into the recording studio. I recorded in one day something like 26 songs, and we picked the best 12. And then I added one cover song, which is a beautiful Elton John song that I love and have loved for a long time, called Come Down in Time, because he was really what inspired me to become a piano player, a pianist. And so, yeah, I mean, we picked the best songs out of that bunch. And I guess they weren't necessarily the best, because all of them were good. And some of them are wonderful that I haven't recorded yet, but they were the ones that seemed to fit together. And what we did is my label mate and my co-producer, Peter Moore, and myself went home, and we wrote down the list of 12 songs each that we thought should be recorded. And when we came back, we had all picked the same ones.
Really?
And it's kind of magical.
Recorded 26 in one day.
Yeah, I just basically sat on the piano and just played and sang 26 songs. It was quite cathartic going through all those emotions. in
And
one
these
day.
are all ones that you wrote about your relationships and your life over the course of the last 20 years.
Yeah, yeah, everything. You know, as a singer-songwriter, I love playing my own songs and creating my own songs for sure. I do like to do covers as well, but when I recorded my albums, they're mostly, you know, except for one or two songs, are my own original material. So,
And why none in Spanish?
it just they didn't seem to fit on this album. You know, I I attack and kind of create my albums and the way I do my playlists on the radio. So, you know, sometimes I'm putting together a playlist and I put a song in there and it just doesn't fit. And I'll just get rid of it, even though it's a fantastic song. And I might play it next week with another group of songs and it fits great. But these were the songs that went together, and I could not. There were a couple of Spanish songs in the bunch, but they weren't right for this album, not for this one.
When you write, do you write in English or Spanish, or do you write in one language and then translate it to the other?
Oh no, I don't translate. I think I am maybe one of the very few people who is completely bilingual, in that when I talk in Spanish, I'm thinking in Spanish, and when I speak in English, I'm thinking in English. So however the song comes out, however it's born, whatever language it wants to be born in, that's what I keep it at. No translations. It's all pure.
So you went through quite a metamorphosis, as I remember that first speech that I heard you make at the Mississauga Arts Council annual awards ceremony at one point in time. And you were talking about how you had a very successful career as a illustrator and as a commercial illustrator, but you weren't happy and you were unsatisfied.
Yeah.
And you were looking for your passion in life. Can you tell us anything about that?
Yeah. And it's not that I don't have passion for painting. I just always had wanted to be a musician, and I never gave that a chance. And so, you know, I came to that crossroads in my life where you just say, you know, it's now or never. And part of what did that was my father passed away very suddenly, and it kind of lit a fire, you know, in my heart that whatever I wasn't doing now, I might never get a chance to do. And I just went for it. I went for it.
We're chatting tonight with Laura Fernandez, who is a DJ host of Cafe Latino on Jazz FM, but she's also a musician, singer-songwriter, pianist, and she's recently released another album, which I'm surprised to hear is all in English and primarily pop, not jazz. And she's a real estate broker. And
there is some jazz, by the way. There is some jazz on that album.
And she's an illustrator, and she's a fascinating individual. We're going to take a break and come back more with Laura in just a minute. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour, Saga 960. A real pleasure of mine tonight to be talking to someone who I really admire, Laura Fernandez. She is a performer. She's a real estate broker. She's an illustrator. She's a friend of mine. At least I hope I can say that. Can I say that, Laura, that you're a friend of mine?
Of course.
I've had the privilege of seeing her perform at the Old Mill, in a church in Etobicoke, I think it was, that I saw you perform in. I've seen you perform, where else? Lots of different intimate places. And every single time at the Mississauga Arts Council, both at an awards ceremony as well as at a gala. And I've had the privilege of having you perform at the piano in my living room.
You have. Thank you for saying it was a privilege. It's a privilege for me too.
It was an incredible privilege. And you've now just released a new album, and it's called what?
Okay, all right.
Okay, all right. And we're going to play one song from it, I understand. What's the song called?
The song is called Breathe Life. And it is it's almost a thank you and a tribute to the people that support you, that breathe life into you and help you to see yourself as more than what you feel sometimes. And they give you that, they give you wings to become your best self because they believe in you. You know, they breathe life into you.
Excellent. Well, here is hopefully Breathe Life by Laura Fernandez. So
I recorded this video and it was produced by this beautiful videographer called Tomo. And I dedicated the song to a friend of mine who died during COVID. His name is Ryan Ayukawa. And it features Alexander Brown on trumpet.
Breathe a little life into me. Warm me with your smile. Hold me in your magic spell. I wanna be lost for a while. Days so full and yet so empty. All that changed when you came near. Driving through hurricanes and floods, taking on life without fear. 'Cause you breathe life into me. Flying so close to the flame. Am I gonna burn? Always picked last for the team, and finally it's my turn to shine. Because I see myself in your eyes, and I'm mesmerized by my reflection. Naked, so exposed, I've left my heart without protection. As you breathe life into me. So careful how you handle me. I'm a runner. I could run away from this, but what good would that serve? 'Cause I would rather fall from heights than stay put on the ground. And never know what it is to fly, to never make a sound. And you breathe life into me. Flying so close to the flame. Am I gonna burn? Always big last for the team, and finally it's my turn to shine. 'Cause I see myself in your eyes, and I'm mesmerized by my reflection. Naked, so exposed, I've left my heart without protection. 'Cause you breathe life into me. 'Cause you breathe life into me. 'Cause you breathe life into me. Yeah. And I see myself in your eyes. All is possible now. That you breathe life in me.
What a beautiful song. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
And it's interesting, when I think about love and relationships, sort of the line that Oz often used is, you take my breath away. And here you're doing the opposite. It's, you breathe life into me. And you see yourself reflected in someone's eyes and you're mesmerized. It's an inspirational song, and it's inspirational about what the effect of love can be, rather than sort of taking something away. It's something that's being given to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it matters because the support of those around you and the ones that you love are often what makes you successful in your life. And I think it's important to acknowledge that.
Well, it's a beautiful vision of love and relationships.
I feel that way about relationships. We all can contribute in a relationship, and often what those people around us give us is confidence, and they give us, the ability to see ourselves in a whole new way, because it is hard as an artist to have confidence sometimes. I'm sure you know that. It's hard as a person to have confidence. But when you can see that somebody thinks that you're something, makes you feel it makes you believe that you are, it helps.
But when you said, and maybe I'm spending too much time on this, but I kind of like it. When you said that you could see them you could see the reflection in their eyes, and the reflection, the image mesmerized you. You're not actually seeing you. So it's how they describe you to.
How another person sees you. I do believe that all the people and the relationships that we have around us are almost like a reflection of ourselves, so if you see yourself in someone's eyes and they think that you're wonderful and great and that you can do anything, it helps you to believe that. I think it's really important.
I think that is very true. It's if people could only see themselves the way that you see them, when you see them so positively and so full of life and without limits and possibility.
Yeah, exactly. Because the reality, Brian, and you know this because we've talked about it, and you talk about it in your talks, we really only limit ourselves, but sometimes we just need a little reminder. And that reminder comes from the world around us sometimes,
but
that we can do it.
Are an interesting and inspirational story. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about this, because you had a very successful career and you gave it all up because you had this desire to be a singer.
Well, I didn't even just give it all up. Literally, it was taken away from me at the peak, because I remember we had just won a gold medal for illustration. And very quickly after that, the demand for illustration changed. The world changed. Technology came in, Photoshop and all those, more technical ways and faster and quicker ways of doing things. And so people didn't want a real painter anymore. They just wanted to do it digitally, quick and dirty, fast. And so I found myself really out of a job, and I remember just praying and thinking to myself, what am I going to do? I'm not good at anything. The only thing that I know how to do is to paint and make something look beautiful. And then somewhere there was a voice. I remember hearing a voice in my mind that said, and you can write songs. And I remember telling my sister, I'm not good at anything. All I know how to do is paint and write songs, and nobody cares about that. And my sister, the voice of reason, who was a realtor in Florida, said, well, actually, you'd make a really great realtor. And if you have to sell your house, you might as well sell it yourself. And that's how I started my career. And so I kind of picked myself up off the ground and brushed myself off. And I thought, okay, can't afford to be in this house anymore. I got to sell my house. I'm going to figure out how to do it myself. And I went to real estate school and fell in love with a whole new thing, and successfully sold my house. And it gave me the ability, and the money to be able to start over. And that's really how it was. And then I thought, well, if I'm not going to make money at art, I might as well do what I wanted to do always, which was to be a musician. If I'm going to be broke from the arts, I might as well do what I wanted to do. And so I started writing songs and going to open stages and getting music out there. And the next thing I know, I was being booked, and I got invited to this big festival in New York, and I ended up winning in my category, and I came back. And then, shortly thereafter, I was hired to be host of Cafe Latino on Jazz FM 91. And all these wonderful new opportunities opened up just because I didn't just feel sorry for myself and weep and complain and, didn't allow it. I saw this movie the other day. It's a wonderful movie. Have you seen this movie called Spanglish?
No.
Well, so one of the things in the story is the mother who tells the story says that she only ever would allow herself to have one really good cry, one good tear, but make it a good one. And then that's it. And so that was kind of my philosophy. I had my good cry, and I picked myself up off the ground. And I said, okay, I got to do something else. The universe is telling me I need to do something else. And who knew that I was going to become Laura Fernandez? I was really, at the lowest point in my life. My dad had passed away. I lost my career. I had to sell my house. My family broke up, my marriage. And I just thought, okay, it's like a clean slate.
But, it's interesting because it's a story of resilience. There's no question. But it's also a great example. I think that sometimes some of the best things come out of the worst times. And a lot of people, I think, get creative energy, get new ideas, find new passions, find new ways of doing things. And whether it's the universe speaking to you or whether it's just the reality, you got to do it. I think that I'm always surprised at how many people actually turn out better after a bad thing happens to them. Not that you want the bad thing to happen, but that it's the way of the world.
Well, we all have to grow, and growth does not happen by staying the same. Growth happens by having things happen in your life and seeing how you can recover from your falls. I mean, that's how you grow, really. And, nobody has a perfect life. Even the wealthiest, healthiest, happiest people, all of a sudden, they end up sick with some crazy disease, or, they lose everything in the stock market and they have to start again. Or, the reality is that life is a kind of like a school. It's a place to learn how to get stronger, better, quicker, faster, smarter. That's what I think. More deeper, more spiritual. And you can't do that by just staying in one place all safe and having your life be the same every day. So I do believe that it's important to take risks and to try to grow, sometimes
try to grow, be resilient, all good adages. We're talking tonight with Laura Fernandez, a wonderful singer, songwriter, performer, real estate broker, illustrator, etc. We're going to take a break and come back with one more song and some concluding comments. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour. Really enjoying a conversation tonight with an old friend of mine, Laura Fernandez, who is the host of Cafe Latino on Jazz FM every Saturday afternoon. What time?
It's on 4 to 7. It's 3 hours now instead of
4
2.
to 7 every Saturday afternoon and early evening on Jazz FM. And it's wonderful. I listen to it, not all the time, I have to admit, but whenever it's sort of a quiet Saturday afternoon around the fire with the paper or whatnot, I love it. And I love hearing your voice. And I love hearing the people that you interview and the songs that you pick. And it's very educational. But we want to play another one of your songs, but this time one in Spanish. Tell us what we're going to play now.
We're going to play Un Solo Beso, which was the title track of my Spanish language album of the same name. And it is, it's about the importance of showing love, importance of expressing it.
And what does it say in English?
A single kiss.
A single kiss.
It was my kiss to the world.
Cuando tus besos no llegan al alma, cuando tu mirada me deja fría, cuando tus palabras apuntan y matan, ha llegado el final, vida mía. Cuando tus caricias no toman ya el tiempo, cuando el placer del amor se ha marchitado, se va apagando la llama, se oscurecen los sueños, me vas dejando de lado, me vas dejando de lado. Yo me acuerdo con dulce abandono, cómo me desarmabas, como el amor que sentía me llegaba al hueso y junto siempre a tu lado estaba, orgullosa de ser amada, nuestro voto para siempre sellado, con un solo beso, con un solo beso. Cuando tus besos no llegan al alma, cuando tu mirada me deja fría, cuando tus palabras apuntan y matan, ha llegado el final, vida mía, ha llegado el final, vida mía, ha llegado el final, vida mía.
Just beautiful. Thank you so much. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
So sum it up. What do you think the secret to your success has been?
Gosh, I don't know if there is a secret to success, and every day isn't a success. We all have little successes and little failures. But I think, I think part of it is just navigating. Like I always said that life is kind of like surfing. You got to ride the waves and you're going to fall off the board. There's just no way that you're not going to wipe out sometimes.
Yep.
But you got to get back on that board and just try to balance. It's all about balance. Life is about balance. Like I really like that analogy of surfing, because I really believe that that's what it's like. And when you are, in your zone, you're at the top of that wave and it's magic, right? But how long can anyone sustain that? Nobody does, really. So you can, at some point you're going to fall off. You get on your surfboard and you try it again. And that's the secret to life, and the secret to being successful, I think, is just, give yourself one good cry
and then move on.
Get back on the board.
Laura Fernandez, thank you so much. If people want to check out your music, you're available on Bandcamp and Spotify and all those different services?
All of them. Apple Music. I'm all over the freaking place.
And Jazz FM is Cafe Latino 4 till 7 every Saturday afternoon?
That's right, on Jazz FM 91.
And what about real estate? If they want to call you for real estate advice, how do they do that?
You can look up Jacobson Fernandez, and you will find me. Or you can just contact me even through my website. I'm very happy to help anyone. It's actually a really tough market right now because, the world is crazy right now in real estate. So it does help to have someone to help you out and give you some good advice.
Laura Fernandez, it's a real pleasure checking back in with you. All the best and good luck with the new album. And I hope to see you performing sometime soon.
Thank you. I hope so too. Thanks for having me, Brian.
Well, that's our show for tonight. I come to you every Monday through Friday at 9:60 a.m., or you can stream me online at www.saga960am.ca, or you can get all my podcasts and video casts after the fact on briancrombie.com, or all my podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Good night and have a great weekend. Thanks, Laura.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was really lovely to see you and talk to you and catch up with you a little bit too.